So coming off of the Kayo Armory deck release, I was playing around with a no-miss Kayo build in the spirit of that deck's design to give it a go and to test the concept. And it was actually quite decent. That said, there's no denying the raw strength of Bloodrush Bellow or the fact that a Cast Bones can just flat out win Blitz games. So today I'm presenting my low-miss Kayo deck, a slight iteration that still keeps chance in our favor. A huge shout out to our channel members for supporting what we do here. If you want to get involved with the channel and the Dice Commando community, please consider joining as a channel member. Remember, these videos are only possible with your support. You can show that support with a like, a subscribe, and by leaving us a comment and sharing your feedback. Community first, and go Commando. Hey there, my flesh and blood friends. Welcome back to Dice Commando and Go Again, a fabulous cast. And thanks so much for tuning in today for another one of our videos on our march towards Skirmish Season 9, looking at Blitz decks. Now, today, talking Kayo, I had to wait until July 8th, or after the July 8th BNR, to publish, as I was pretty certain that Savage Sash was going to get banned in Blitz. But I was wrong, shockingly. Apparently, their desire to keep a recent product legal surpasses their desire to just own it, that it's too good. But it is what it is, and that's right. Tonight, we are talking Go-Go Kayo. Blitz is an awesome format and integral to Flesh and Blood's long-term success. With Skirmish Season returning in late August, the competitive focus on Blitz has returned. Every Tuesday until the start of Skirmish Season 9, I'll be covering a different Blitz deck tag. Now, our Dice Commando channel members, of course, have early access to these videos as they are uploaded. The first wave is already available, with another wave pending after the July 3rd BNS announcement. And hey, if James White approves, you should too. So I'll see you here every Tuesday through August for more Blitz content. So tonight's build, I gotta be honest, I'm actually really excited to bring to you all. And this low-miss Kayo build has really been my baby. So as I mentioned in the intro, coming off of the Kayo Armory deck release, I was able to grab one. And I basically spun that into a no-miss Blitz deck because I wanted to really explore, not only in that format, but I wanted to explore kind of the play line and the good intro level brute that they wanted to bring in that deck. So I played that for a while, and I have to be honest, it's actually pretty good, right? And by that, I mean like not their deck, but a low-miss concept build was actually pretty good. I had decent results. I'd say solid tier 2. Which is perfectly fine, right? Perfectly fine for an intro style play. But that said, there's, as I mentioned, there's really no denying that like Bloodrush Bellow is really good, or that Cast Bones, which I think is the absolute crazy card in Blitz, that just kind of wins Blitz games sometimes with a KO, right? Especially when you have an armor suite like he has and you can be guaranteed to no miss. And that's kind of the issue with KO in a traditional sense, right? My original KO build before the no miss had, I think, 5 misses in it, maybe even 6 misses in it. Actually, I think it was 6. And that's a lot of misses. But what I'm doing here with, because it was really cool in the no miss build to just be able to go, right? And you could just math it out and just be able to go. And there was a pretty big advantage in that, but you were missing the big pop-offs, of course, from the misses. So that's where I landed on this, was the low miss. And the basic rule on this, the basic concept on this deck is I'm only running at any given time 2 of them, with kind of the control matchup exception, like against Warriors or something like that, where I know it's going to go a little longer, where I'll actually run 3 with the 1x Reckless. So let's go ahead and get into the deck. And I think what I'm, again, this is not super, it's brute stuff, right? Brute smash. This is not super high level stuff, but I kind of want to talk you through kind of my logic on a lot of this. So the loadout's actually pretty straightforward. So I have Bonebreaker, Beaten Trackers, which pairs really well with Savage Sash. You're giving up the armor, but you're getting the action point, and it's definitely what you want to do on the pop-off. Now, I am running Knucklehead, and that is for a very real reason. I've built this deck in paper. I've played this deck in paper, and I don't own the helm, right? I don't own the Scowling Flesh Bag. So I'm playing Knucklehead because it gives me 1 extra and because it's the one I have, right? You will Windmill Slam in a Scowling Flesh Bag. If you have it, that's a no-brainer there, okay? And then you, of course, have 1 Mandible Claw because what else is he going to run, right? And it's also really good. We, of course, have Savage Sash, which I expected. Again, I thought it wasn't going to be here anymore, but it is. So you Windmill Slam that baby in because that card is cray-cray, as the kids probably don't say anymore these days. Either way. Now, let's go ahead and just go into the no-miss portion of it, okay? Or the miss portion of the no-miss, low-miss portion of it. Let's say that. So Cast Bones. Cast Bones is the 2 that I've gone with main board. I functionally believe that this card is just crazy. I know the Bloodrush Bellow is really good, but Cast Bones just does stuff for you in Blitz, right? I mean, just the health disparity or the health difference between the formats, the weight this carries. The other thing I like about this on the low miss build is if you go in with another might token on board, even if you do miss, even if you pull the other miss in the deck, the other Cast Bones, you still get your agility, right? Because you would then reveal 5 out of 6, right? Because playing this card, there's only one other in the deck. As long as you go in with a might token, you're completely safe. So that's why I've gone with 2 Cast Bones in the main board. Once we go to the inventory, you'll see that we have 2 Bloodrush Bellows, 1 Reckless Swing, and then Skullhorn and Nalrune to make out your AB3. It's really nice, actually, that Skullhorn has AB2 because it saves you that slot, which lets us bring in Reckless Swing. But honestly, we might go AB2 if we didn't have if we didn't have Skullhorn, but we do. So just shut up, Andrew. That's what we're running. Okay, Skullhorn, Nalrune, Gloves. Because you actually have a fair amount of blues in this deck, so you can do okay. All right. So let's talk about when to swap them in. If you need to go, so Cast Bones, I think functionally works better against basically like, I leave Cast Bones in the vast majority of the time. If I'm going up like Victor, I generally use Bloodrush Bellow against Victor because you want to come in with more times versus coming in with something big where he can just like do a whole bunch of stuff and then clash and maybe get another card out of it, right? So something like him, maybe even something like maybe Warrior usually, but I also, like I mentioned, I also run Reckless Swing against Warrior, pulling out like the Assault and Battery or generally the Assault and Battery because I really like the windups. Okay, let's go through the main deck itself. Again, I want to be very clear, the rest of this pretty much builds itself. I'm not cracking any eggs here. We have 2 copies of Bare Fangs Red because it's really good. Clash of Agility. Man, I was so dumb. I used to run yellow on this because I was like, oh, it's a 6, but it's not a 6 for Apex Bonebreaker. So if you get in the headspace of I am, you're like, oh, well, I'm going to run the yellow. It's better because it's still a 6. It doesn't miss. That's true, but it does not work with Apex Bonebreaker because it's on the combat chain. So if you're going to defend with this and get the agility out of it, you may as well be doing the red so that you can also get the Bonebreaker out of it, right? It just inherently makes sense to me, okay? We have E-Strikes because, again, that's a 5 and it's good. I do run red-yellow pulping. This is something that I was originally on red-yellow Bare Fangs. Red-yellow pulping instead is way better. That's definitely what I've landed on. Blade Runner, I'm on 1 copy of Skullcrack, 2 Swing Bigs, red-yellow Wild Ride, and then in terms of the windups, I have yellow, blue Agile, and blue Mighty. Beast Within, Send Packing, 1 copy of Assault and Battery. Right, so when I went into the blues, I'm running 13 blues here. And because of 14 just felt like a little too many. So 14 would have been roughly about the same ratio as the LSS deck was, and I dialed that back just ever so slightly, but dialing it back to 12 felt not enough. So that's why I ended up on 1 Skullcrack, which also does poop out the resource, and then 1 extra blue. 2 Swing Bigs, of course, and then rounding out the yellows, we have Send Packing because it's a really good single swing card for a little threatened disruption. And then Mighty Windup, Reincarnate, Run Roughshod, Smash Instinct, and Wrecker Romp. All right, so the coolest part about this deck is like if you start with a card in Arsenal and you get your Go Agains on board, which are Pulping, Wild Ride, and remember, you can make one with Beaten Trackers, and again, pretty much guarantee that no miss. That's the whole point of the low miss, is like once you've consumed one, you just kind of go and hope you don't get super unlucky because math is on your side at that point. So anyway, that is the deck. I really like this deck. It's a lot of fun, and I'm really happy to bring it to you to hear what you all think. There's no question that I am not a historical brute player, but I've gotten quite a few reps in with this baby, or not necessarily the deck you see below because it's a public deck, but my own iterated deck, and it's kind of cool to see the improvement over time as I've learned how to play that deck. So anyway, have fun with it. Let me know what you're thinking. Good luck coming up in Skirmish, and go Commando.